Hi there, Sagittarius. Thank you for joining me for your year 2017 forecast. As you enter into this new year, Jupiter, your ruling planet, is hugely important. Now, of course, you'd say, come on, Patrick, it's hugely important all the time. And I'd have to agree, because it's what gives you that happy-go-lucky, larger-than-life, and generally very positive and philosophical outlook. It's about your inquisitiveness too, and it starts this year continuing in the sign of Libra, which is all about sociability and your future plans. But there's much more than this, Sagittarius, because it's forging some important alliances. Not least, in the first 2 months, it's angling brilliantly with Saturn in your sign. Now, Saturn has been very restrictive for you over the last year and a half. I don't think that we can sort of bluff and disguise that. You've probably been simplifying your world in that period of time, in that 18 months. But this is an opportunity to start growing things again, but growing the things that are really meaningful. Because the chances are you've been making your life or paring your life down to the structure that is really essential. Jupiter thinking big, which it does much better in Libra than ever it did in Virgo, where it was until the 12th of August last year. Jupiter in Libra is much better for you because it's helping you to network, to connect with people, which you have probably a greater talent for than any other zodiac sign. So that's going to be rekindled in a marvellous way, but particularly in the first 2 months of this year, but in a way that's meaningful. So if you do make some connections to some fresh folks, I think they can be people who really can help to grow your world in a very positive but key, sustainable way. So they can come in and bring good things into you, nourishing things in terms of ideas, support, encouragement, and just connecting about collective things that you can both relate to. Now, Saturn is also going to be forging a great link with Uranus. Now, this is a rather interesting link because if you think about it, Saturn is about preserving the status quo in some degree, and Uranus is about all that's modern and innovative. But actually, they're both the co-rulers of the sign of Aquarius. So you could find yourself thinking a bit more like an Aquarius in the first 6 months of this year, which in other words is treasuring the more traditional parts of your existence which work well, but staying open-minded to new possibilities. But the new possibilities that are workable can grow again step by step in a way which can. That's wonderful. So you've had some things withering on the vine over the last year and a half, but some things can now start to be re-established. However, more challengingly, Jupiter and Uranus are clashing in the first 2 months of this year. This points towards some people are going to come into your world and perhaps in quite a dazzling way, and you may find yourself very attracted to some of them, or perhaps one or two, but they may not necessarily hang around for long. Will they provide some short-term relief? Well, absolutely, they could do. They could provide some real excitement, and there could also be some clashes. Your point of view, the things you believe in, can be something that you hold very dear. And someone could challenge you with new ideas that you're not ready for. Or maybe it's you who's going to be more evangelical and someone resists your point of view. Some tensions are possible from this, but it is still exciting. Now, we do have some other influences right at the start of this year, because when the years turn, we get a backdrop, and that comes from the solar return. The Sun, as ever, is in your second solar house in Capricorn, but unfortunately, Mercury is twisting backwards in this area. And I do feel that right throughout 2017, you're going to have to really micromanage your finances. It doesn't necessarily mean your finances are not going to work well, but you just need to really take care of them. Don't be slapdash in any way, or just assume that everything will work out without too much input from you. They may not. Errors and unexpected problems and glitches could creep in if you're not really scrutinising things on a pretty regular basis right throughout the year. However, pleasingly, Mars, the power planet, the planet of instant gratification, is in your fourth solar house. It combines with Neptune. Now, Neptune caused you some real mischief last year. It was demotivating, draining of your energy, and at times quite confusing around your emotional, family and home situation. It can bring some more of that this year, but I don't think it's going to be as bad. But this conjunction with Mars needs care. You could kid yourself a little bit about what your motives are in some parts of the year as far as your emotional needs are concerned. Remember, emotions for Sagittarians are not something that necessarily settle on your consciousness easy. You'd rather move on to the next exciting adventure when things go wrong rather than do too much navel gazing. But don't be quick to cast off any concerns, anxieties, or emotional undercurrents. They still need to be tackled, and at times Neptune could see you almost avoiding it. But despite this, Mars and Neptune forge a great link to the Sun at the turn of this year. And it could be that something's going to change around your home situation, which can actually improve your financial approach, but it will come from imagination. It's not going to come necessarily from just perspiration. You do need a bit of wizardry to make this work for you. But it could be that you're going to rent a room out, work from home on a part-time job, maybe downsize to make your living space that less expensive. Something like this is going to occur for you, I feel. More wonderfully, Venus, the planet of relating, is in a great location as this year begins, and it's going to give you a lot of charm, even more charm right throughout the year. But there is a change which occurs. Venus moves just into 2017 into a quieter, more reflective area. But I think generally your words can have a lot of power this year if you use them sincerely. Now, that's not to say that you're generally insincere. I'm just saying your charm power is going to be so strong. Just remember, people will hear what you say, and some people could take it at face value. However, there is a full moon which occurs on the 2nd of January, and this is going to see you thinking and grappling with financial balance. Now, all of us have a tendency to do this at this time of year because of the cost of Christmas, but I think for you it's particularly pertinent, and it's important that you keep a sense of motivation going, because I feel that things are really going to start to hot up for you on the 26th of January this year. Then your energy is going to really pick up. You're going to start to gain momentum in a much more obvious way. There's also a lunar eclipse in your sister fire sign of Leo, which occurs on the 11th of February. This can be absolutely superb for you because it's going to push you out of your comfort zone. If you do spend those first 4, 5, 6 weeks more home orientated at the turn of the year, particularly if you're in the northern hemisphere where it's colder, then this can just give you the push to get out and be much more active and enterprising. It's also linking brilliantly with your ruler, Jupiter. So new friends and new faces can occur right through to August of 2017. Be open to that. It can be a very enriching time. However, the solar eclipse, which occurs on the 26th of February, is back in your sector of home, emotions, family. You can't ignore this. And again, Neptune's going to be very much to the fore. Your sensitivity to your own emotional needs to evolve this year. You can't always just move on from situations because you want to do something that's more exciting, more fun, more sociable. Give yourself the time to process your emotions. It's not a criticism. I have a lot of Sagittarius in my chart myself, but this is your opportunity to evolve in the next 6 months. Because eclipses work in tandem, the 9th house eclipse is linking in with your 4th house eclipse, and that suggests that as much as you may want to be adventurous, feeling secure is going to be an important factor right through to August. Now on the 7th of April, Saturn slams on the brakes. You may feel a sense of restriction come in, but it's still forging a fine link with Uranus through to the 26th of August. So keep the faith. It's just you may have to up your tenacity about an area that's really important to you. It's not going to be served on a plate to you this year. It never can be when Saturn's going through our own sign. We have to apply ourselves and put that perspiration in. It's important. However, there is, from the middle of July through to the middle of August, a clash between tiny Pluto and Jupiter, your ruler. I think you may encounter some people during that time who you thought you could relate to and were your kind of people, but they may actually turn out to be nothing of the sort. Some empty promises could be made, some big ideas could turn out to be pie in the sky. Make sure they're not yours and be sceptical about what you're told, especially around any get-rich-quick schemes that involve groups or collectives. That could be a bit of a risky period. But August and September are going to see the reactivation of that great link between Jupiter and Saturn. So once more, with the right friends, and particularly where you can take a leading role, there is growth, there is expansion. It's just picking the right horses to put your bet on, quite frankly. But then we have on the 7th of August a lunar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius, which is brilliant for you because this is going to be angling up to Jupiter in your sign. What I think this points towards is connecting with people that you can have a lot of easy conversation with. You can share those ideas. It is a hell and hearty influence. It can see you being more outgoing in the second half of this year. And certainly, once the solar eclipse occurs in Leo on the 21st of August, that's just going to up the process. And that links with Uranus, suggesting there can be scheduled opportunities that come your way too. So you can see the first half of this year broadly has a more emotional dimension to it, a much more sensitive one. The second half of this year is you on the front foot, having fun, galvanising people into action. Jupiter and Uranus are clashing again across September and the first 10 days of October, but you'll be wiser to its influence then. You'll be working with Jupiter better. You'll be understanding what you can get from it, and then it moves into quite a quiet and reflective zone. Now, of course, you can be one of the most philosophical members of the zodiac. You love cultures, you love travel, and you may find yourself wanting to go somewhere very peaceful and very enriching in terms of the experience. Just going somewhere which is absolutely just a flesh pot, maybe something that will appeal to some archers, but I think others will be wanting something a little bit more enriching in a more spiritual way, and that can be something that comes into play in the last quarter of the year. But that takes us round to the final run-in of Saturn in your sign. This is something to really savour, but unfortunately Mercury goes backwards in your sign the first 2 weeks of December and combines with, you've guessed it, Saturn. So something could be hugely frustrating for you again, and you may think, oh my word, am I ever going to be free of this stuff? Well, the answer is yes. On the 20th of December, you really can do the whoop, whoop, as Saturn moves out of your sign. It's not going to come back broadly for about 27 years. Of course it's going to be affecting you in other zones. For the next 2.5 years, it's asking you to be much more self-disciplined about your resources and learn more about your values. But that's your year, Sagittarius. It requires tenacity, attention to detail around your resources. It requires you to keep working on the things that are really important and rooting out those that aren't. Grow in your world in a way which reflects your emotional needs, but the second half of this year can be much more playful and fun. It's been a real pleasure being with you. Good luck and goodbye for now.